In the world of cartoons, bullies are basically unavoidable. They're the ones constantly ragging on the main characters, beating them up, putting them down, and basically existing just to piss them off. But here's the thing. Some bullies are actually kinda likable. Whether it's because of their personal growth, their backstory, or just how entertaining they are, a few of them stand out in the best way. So in this video, I'm talking about the cartoon bullies that I personally don't hate, and maybe even enjoy. Before we jump in, don't forget to subscribe to Animated Memories for more cartoon content. Buford is that rare type of bully who doesn't actually make you hate him. At first, he looks like he's gonna be the classic big dumb kid who pushes people around. But nope, Buford has layers. Yeah, he picks on Baljeet, but it's never mean-spirited. It's more like that sibling energy where you roast the person you're actually closest to. Baljeet's his punching bag, sure, but he's also his best friend. And honestly, Buford is hilarious. He might be the funniest character in Phineas and Ferb, besides Doofenshmirtz. The way he swings from tough guy mode to full-on softy at the drop of a hat, like crying over a pet fish or breaking down in the middle of a dramatic moment, that's peak comedy. What really makes him stand out, though, is the redemption arc. Most cartoon bullies stay in the background, but Buford slowly becomes part of the group. He joins the projects, helps out, and even shows loyalty to the gang when it counts. He went from the bully to the heart of the crew without ever losing that sarcastic, rough-around-the-edges charm. Buford isn't the guy you boo, he's the guy you end up rooting for. Harold is the definition of the big, dumb bully trope, at least when you first meet him. He's loud, clumsy, and always ready to throw his weight around on the playground. But the genius of Hey Arnold is that it never let Harold stay a one-note character. As the show went on, you start to see cracks in the tough guy act. Harold is sensitive, insecure, and honestly, a little soft-hearted. The dude cries easily, gets embarrassed, and sometimes just wants to fit in. He's more awkward than evil. That's why fans ended up loving him, because Harold wasn't really a monster. He was just a kid. He'd have moments of surprising sweetness, like helping friends out, or showing genuine kindness when nobody expected it. Underneath all the bluster, Harold had a heart of gold. He went from, "Oh no, the bully's here," to, "Aw, it's Harold." And that's the kind of growth that makes him one of the least hated cartoon bullies out there. Nelson Muntz is the blueprint for the classic schoolyard bully. The voice, the laugh. It's iconic. The guy could walk on screen for 2 seconds, clown somebody, and walk away, and you'd still be laughing. But what makes Nelson stand out isn't just that he's funny. It's that over the years, he grew into something more than just the kid who steals your lunch money. See, in the early seasons, Nelson is just your stock bully, Bart's nemesis, Springfield Elementary's nightmare. But the writers started peeling back his layers, and suddenly, Nelson became one of the most interesting side characters. He's not just a jerk, he's a kid from a broken home, dealing with an absent dad and a struggling single mom. And then there are the episodes that flipped his whole character around, like Bart the General, Season 1, where Bart actually goes to war with Nelson and his gang. Classic early Simpsons mayhem. But later episodes showed his softer side, like Lisa's date with Density, Season 8. Nelson literally becomes Lisa's boyfriend for a minute. And instead of just being a jerk, you see this insecure, awkward kid who doesn't quite know how to handle someone actually liking him. That episode turned Nelson from a one-note bully into a real character people could root for. By the 2000s, Nelson even became a weird kind of friend to Bart. He's still roasting people, but now you see that he's not completely heartless. He's more like that kid in school who'll beat you up, but also invite you to hang out after. That's why Nelson belongs in a video about least hated cartoon bullies. He's proof that even the meanest bully can grow into a fan favorite. All it takes is some character development and a few episodes that make you go, okay, maybe he's not that bad. Binky is one of those bullies who barely deserves the title. Sure, he started out as the tough guy in Arthur, but let's be real, he wasn't tormenting kids 24/7. Half the time, he was just hanging out with Arthur and the gang like he was part of the crew. What makes Binky different is that underneath the whole big kid with a scowl act, he's actually sensitive and even a little nerdy. The dude plays the clarinet, gets stage fright, and has his fair share of insecurities. That's not your average schoolyard terror. That's just a kid trying to figure himself out. Fans never really hated Binky because he wasn't mean for the sake of being mean. If anything, his bully status was more about his image than his actions. And honestly, that's what made him fun to watch. He was the bully who you could actually imagine being your friend after school.
Now, Squidward isn't your traditional schoolyard bully, but let's be real. The man spends half his life roasting SpongeBob and Patrick. Every insult, every eye roll, every slammed door is basically Squidward's way of bullying his neighbors. But here's the twist. Fans don't hate him for it. They get it. Squidward is the ultimate grumpy adult mood. He's tired, underpaid, and just wants 5 minutes of peace. If we had SpongeBob banging on our door every morning asking to jellyfish, we'd probably act the same way. His constant jabs and sarcasm don't feel cruel, they feel earned. And that's the magic of Squidward. He's not just the grouchy foil to SpongeBob's joy, he's the character that makes you laugh because deep down, you've been there. He's the bully you sympathize with, the one who proves sometimes it's not about being mean, it's about surviving your neighbors.
Flash starts out as your textbook jock bully, the loudmouth football player who lives to pick on Peter Parker. He's cocky, he's shallow, and he treats the school like his personal kingdom. Basically, the kind of guy you're supposed to roll your eyes at. But here's where Spectacular Spider-Man did something smart. They didn't leave Flash stuck in that box. Yeah, he keeps his dumb jock energy. He's still brash, still obsessed with sports, still kinda clueless. But his bully edge slowly fades. You see him start to respect Peter, even if he doesn't totally get him. And he shows loyalty that a pure bully character never would. That's why Flash works. He's not written as a flat stereotype. He's written like a real teenager. Someone who can be a jerk one day and a decent guy the next. By the end, you don't see him as the villain of Midtown High anymore. You see him as part of the friend group in his own messy, lovable way. Flash is proof that even a meathead bully can grow into a character fans actually root for.
When I was a kid, I didn't really watch much Hey Arnold, so my first impression of Helga was just, wow, what a jerk. She was constantly clowning Arnold, picking fights, and just came off as this pure, unfiltered bully. Like, no nuance, just straight up mean for the sake of it. But then one day I stumbled on a video breaking down her backstory, and suddenly everything clicked. Helga's whole tough bully act isn't random, it's basically armor. She's got a messed up family dynamic, parents who barely pay her attention, and deep insecurities she doesn't know how to deal with. And all of that comes out as her lashing out at Arnold, the same kid she's secretly in love with. That's when I realized Helga isn't just a bully. She's one of the most layered characters in 90s cartoons. On the surface, she's the loudmouth antagonist. But underneath, she's a kid trying to cope the only way she knows how. And once you see that, you can't really look at her the same way again. Helga went from cartoon asshole to cartoon tragic figure for me. And that's what makes her unforgettable.
When I first watched Rugrats, I could not stand Angelica. To me, she wasn't just a brat. She was a full-on 3-year-old supervillain. Bossy, manipulative, always stealing toys, making the babies cry. Every time she showed up, I'd think, yep, here comes the asshole of the episode. But watching the show again as a grown-ass adult who loved Rugrats back in the day, I see her differently. Yeah, she was cruel, but her behavior makes a lot more sense now. Angelica wasn't just mean for fun.
She was a neglected kid acting out. Her mom was a high-powered businesswoman who was always on the phone, too busy to give her real attention. Her dad was technically around, but Angelica was still constantly dumped at Tommy's house to run wild. That kind of childhood leaves scars. It explains why she projected so much. Like the time she told Chucky that nobody loved or needed him. That wasn't just cruelty. That was her own insecurity spilling out of her tiny, angry body. And when your closest attachment isn't even to a person, but to a half-bald doll named Cynthia? Yeah, that tells you everything you need to know. Kids aren't born evil. Their behavior is a direct reflection of the environment they're raised in. Angelica is one of the best examples of that in cartoons. She's not memorable because she redeemed herself or learned big lessons. She's memorable because her chaos came from a painfully real place. Angelica may have been horrible, but she was realistically horrible. And that's why, love her or hate her, you'll never forget her.
Look, I'm not even going to pretend here. I just like Cartman. I know I shouldn't because he's literally one of the worst human beings in cartoon history. He's manipulative, selfish, racist, and somehow manages to get worse every single season. But that's exactly the point. He's hilariously awful. Cartman isn't a bully you root for because he has hidden depth or a redemption arc. He has none. He's terrible from start to finish. But when he's on screen, you know something wild, offensive, or ridiculously over the top is about to happen. And you can't look away. He's chaos wrapped in a red jacket. For me, Cartman is just one of those characters where I can't explain it logically. I just enjoy him. He's proof that sometimes the favorite bully isn't the one with layers or secret sensitivity. It's just the one who makes you laugh the hardest, while being the absolute worst. Cartman isn't a guilty pleasure. He's just a pleasure.
I'll be honest, Mandy has zero character development. None. She doesn't grow, she doesn't soften, she doesn't learn life lessons. She's the same stone-cold kid from episode 1 all the way to the end. And that's exactly why I like her. She's not a good person. She bullies Billy nonstop, controls Grim like he's her personal chauffeur, and never, ever cracks a smile. But that's the charm. Mandy's whole personality is just pure, unshakable confidence. While every other character is bouncing around like a maniac, she's calm, collected, and always in control. There's something about that icy, no-nonsense energy that just hits different. You don't root for Mandy because she's nice or because she changes. You root for her because she owns every scene she's in. She's scary, she's funny, and honestly, she's kind of iconic because she never breaks character. Mandy's proof that sometimes being a heartless bully can still make you a fan favorite.
So yeah, those are the cartoon bullies I don't totally hate. Which ones did I miss? Drop your picks down in the comments. I'd love to hear who you think deserves a spot. And as always, make sure to subscribe to Animated Memories for more cartoon breakdowns just like this.